Bring in our 1320 Kings insider and creator of the Kings Beat, James Ham. James telling the story there during the commercial break. Of course, James, a big football fan. And if you think you are a veteran of fantasy football, you probably pale in comparison to what James Ham is, who is you used to like write your fantasy team. If you've been doing this for 28 years, you've been doing this before the Yahoo app was making this easy on you.
Oh yeah. So this is the league that I'm in right now is 29 years old. I've played for I want to say this is my 33rd season playing fantasy football. The league that I'm in, like we've been around so long that you have like the life cycle. Like everyone has had kids. We've actually lost two players who have passed away. We've had spouses pass away and stuff like that. So yeah, I've played forever. And so what you used to
Probably
do.
have had multiple spouses too.
Well, yes, multiple players have had multiple spouses. Yes, but I think the cool thing, like when I first started playing, is you would get up on Monday morning, you'd race down, you grab the Sacramento Bee, or preferably the USA Today because the box score was bigger, and then you'd have one person call out a name, and then you'd score it. Like the other person would find the name in the box score it, and then so like, do you have any other bears on that lineup? And we'd go through and get all the bears because you'd be on that box score.
This
And,
sounds
and, you,
I mean,
and then
I was about to say, how long does this take?
it will probably about 20 minutes, and then you'd have to get up the next day and get the Monday night game. So you could sort of judge who was going to win, but you'd also like to call in your lineup. You'd have to like literally call someone's answering machine and leave it on. So someone would say, "Okay, I'm not going to pick up any calls from 8 to 12. Go ahead and leave your lineup on my answer machine."
There
on
are
Saturday.
people listening right now that don't know what an answering machine is.
Yeah,
Guaranteed.
There are people producing the show that don't know what an answering machine is.
Have you ever seen an answering machine in your life?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I started playing before the internet, really. I mean, like well before the internet. And the internet wasn't helpful until maybe the late 90s, early 2000s. That's when it really you started to see some of these websites
I'd
pop
say a
up.
little further than that, like mid 2000s.
Yeah, and even then it was like rudimentary scoring. So we do individual defensive players, and we have for a long time. So we score that as well. Probably 15 years we've done IDP, so we don't draft like team defenses. Yeah.
So help me out a little bit here, Ham, because I'm a novice when it comes to the fantasy football. But I get in there, I do what I can, and we had a fantasy football draft at the job, at the office, and I was late, and I already had the players already picked, and somehow my first pick, I don't know, ended up being Josh Allen, and my coworker Slammy texted me, laughed me out of the building, like, I can't believe you just took Josh Allen first. Why is it so frowned upon to take a quarterback early?
It's crazy. Like because I played so long, and like the shift has happened so dramatically. I think some leagues they don't really get it that the reason why you have one quarterback, two running backs, and three wide receivers is because historically each of those positions should come close to matching each other. So two running backs should equal one quarterback, three wide receivers should equal two running backs or one quarterback. That's kind of the way that it was built. Like we have our keeper league. We kept Mahomes, and we kept Mahomes only because we were team rolling with Mahomes, and we have to keep him, and we have jerseys and all that stuff. Yeah, exactly. Normally, we would not keep a quarterback in this situation, but we've had him for the last 4 years, and he's fun. And so we were the only one to not keep a quarterback. To keep a quarterback. And so the first two rounds went, and then you started seeing Allen and Herbert and maybe Kyler Murray. Like all of those guys started to go. But yeah, it's different. The great shift. I learned a long time ago, if guys really are on you that hard about the league, you probably should look at the scoring and make sure that you're in a league that has like straight up scoring. You should know your scoring rules before you play. And I learned that the hard way a long time ago. I got beat by some guy in his kicker. Rules.
You probably could have texted Slammy and laughed at her, given the fact that I have to imagine Josh Allen got you
I think he got like 40 points last night.
Got to imagine you did well with Josh
Yeah.
Allen. So you're a Sunday ticket guy. Like you're a red zone guy. Like you'll be locked into the games this weekend before. I mean, because you got what, 2 weeks to enjoy them before everything kind of changes. So you'll take these 2 Sundays and kind of lock in the Sunday ticket.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I do red zone on one TV. I do the local game on the other. And it just depends. Sometimes we'll flip back and forth on the local game. We'll usually keep the volume up on the red zone channel just because he's hilarious, the guy who does a red zone. And it's fun to sit there and, it's a grind. I mean, I don't know how that guy does it for 6, 7.
That's got to be tough.
Yeah, he's got something, he's got someone in his ear saying, all right, we're going to this TV, like start talking about, the touchdown that's coming up. And like, you got to be really good at that stuff. Yeah, so we'll watch, we'll get up early. I'll make breakfast. We'll be like on the couch here with our legs up from probably about 9:45 until the late game is done. So we'll put in a full 9 hours of football watching.
Hey man, the NFL, they do it perfect, man. They do it perfect. It's perfect to have all the games on one day, most of the games on one day, half of them going at the same time, half of them going at another time. It is about as perfect as it gets with scheduling and TV and getting people excited. I feel like, I guess they've always done this formula. I don't know when it really took off and became the way it is now, but I mean, this is going to be an institution in America, in our lives forever. This is perfect.
Yeah, it used to be. It used to be just the 10 o'clock game, the 1 o'clock game, and then Monday Night Football. The addition of Sunday Night Football is spectacular. And then I don't love the Thursday night game, but it does kind of break things up a little bit.
As we segue to basketball here, just a couple of weeks from the start of Kings training camp, have you watched Domantas Sabonis much in Euro basketball?
Yeah, I've watched
Brendan's bag, but
yeah, I've watched plenty of it. I mean, he just looks so fit. He looks like he's in incredible shape. He's leaned down. I really enjoy watching him play. It seems like the longer that Lithuania goes, the more they kind of get it, that they have any elite player that can do all of these amazing things. And the first couple of games, it really did feel like they didn't know how to use him. And we're finally starting to see them use him as the offensive hub and run everybody off of him. So yeah, that's been fun. And he's the round of 16 is starting, right? So it's going to be difficult for those guys to get through. What do they got? Spain first. That's going to be difficult for them to find a way to get through. But either way, what's that?
Probably not the worst thing.
It's not. Yeah,
time and get him back.
Yeah, he'll get back, and then there's already a bunch of players here in Sacramento that are working out together. This is great. This is what you need. You need the team to be together as much as possible. They did. The Kings did make an interesting roster move, or they're making an interesting roster move. So they're going to bring in DJ Stewart. They still have, as of right now, they have 20 players that they've got commitments from. But the way that that's going to work out is kind of interesting. The Kings have not officially signed some of these guys to contracts. They've just got handshake agreements. So they can still pick up guys right now. And then, whether it's the start of training camp or a little bit into training camp or right before training camp, they can waive 1 or 2 players. And then those players, number one, they can kind of give them bonuses for signing. So they stick around to go to the G League. Because this is hard. Players right now, they have to make a decision whether they're going to go sign in Europe or they're going to try to give it one shot to make it to the main team. And then, again, you don't make that much money in the G League. You make a lot more money overseas. So we might see 1 or 2 of these transactions before the Kings finalize their roster for training camp on that first day. We might see a player or 2 get picked up and then get waived, get a little bit of a bonus, so they might make it back and stick around to go to the G League.
What exactly do you make of the DJ Stewart acquisition that they plan to do? Me personally, I like DJ Stewart. I think he can play. there's a part of me that would rather them have him as the third point guard as opposed to messing around with Delly or Quinn Cook. And if you're not even going to do that, at least that should be somebody that should be in your system in Stockton, which I think he has been for a little bit. But I like his potential and I like his game. But what do you think the thought is with potentially bringing him in?
Yeah, I mean, basically, we're looking at like something similar to an Exhibit 10 contract, it sounds like. So I'm not sure if he'll be around the team or not. We'll have to wait and see how they handle that. But it is a way for them to keep him in their system. So if he is going to sign right now and there is some upfront money, we're hearing like $50,000. That's I think that's a little bit less than what a G League player makes now. So that might be a way to kick in some extra cash. We'll have to wait though, because Sam Merrill will be in the same situation or similar situation where it's kind of like a summer contract, and you got to see he'll get a shot. He might get a shot to make it the team. One of these guys might get an opportunity to be at training camp and actually make the team. But still, like the numbers are rough. I mean, you can look at the numbers, and the Kings have to make 3 cuts as of right now. If they bring in Stewart, that means they're going to have to make a 4th cut. You can see that like one of the 2 point guards won't get kept. At least one of the 2, veteran point guards in Quinn Cook and Matthew Dellavedova. Merrill is up against it because there's a bunch of shooting guards. So right there, that's 2. But then the last cut is probably going to be a difficult one. You got KZ Akpala, you got Chima Moneki, you've got Kent Bazemore. Do you have too many bigs? Like does Chimezi Metu like come into the conversation? So there's going to be a lot of things that happen with that last roster spot.
We were having a similar conversation with Matt George yesterday, and one of us posed the question, any chance at all, like not advocating for it, genuinely just asking the question, any chance like Alex Len would get cut?
See, that's really tough. Like, I don't see it, and there's a specific reason. Even if you don't think that Alex Len is part of the plan, and you already have Rashawn Holmes, and you already have Neemias Queta as well. The problem that you have is that $4 million trade chip, that's what he is basically. He's an expiring contract of $4 million. So when we start adding pieces together, and Trey Lyles at $2.6 million, and Terrence Davis at $4 million, Alex Len at $4 million, $18.3 million for Harrison Barnes. These are all pieces that you can put together into different packages if you're going to make a trade. And once you waive a guy, if he doesn't get picked up, which he's not going to, he'll sign for a veteran minimum and just take the $4 million and then maybe go get another 2 point something from someone else. But the point is that once you waive him, you don't have that anymore. So it's almost like a trade exception, except for it's a more versatile trade exception. And so you want to keep a hold of that early on. And like, again, I don't know if he's part of the plan, but what if Rashawn Holmes really isn't part of the plan, and you just haven't found the right deal, and the right deal comes along, and all of a sudden you've already dumped Alex Len, and you're looking at Neemias Queta, who's really inexperienced, as your backup center. I don't think the Kings are going to go that route. They're always going to keep some depth at that position.
Is this normal? Like, to have this many people coming into training camp, and I don't necessarily mean normal for the Kings, but just around the NBA, having, you got, I guess, 20 spots, but they've got like 25, 26 guys that may be coming in or may have some type of partial contract. Is this the way a typical NBA organization runs their training camp?
Yeah, I mean, right now they have 20, and then if you add DJ Stewart, that's going to be 21, and you can't hit 21. So someone will get either signed and then waived, or someone will get traded between now and the start of camp. You can only walk into camp with 20, and that's 18 standard roster players, and then your two-ways. Or I guess you could not have two-ways, and you can just have 20 guys coming into camp. That's possible too. So the maximum you can bring into camp for the day one of camp is 20. But, 5 days into camp, if you want to waive somebody and pick someone else up, you can do that. And then that player you can also allocate to your Stockton Kings roster if they decide to stick around in the States and go to the the G League, they're one of your cuts, so they can go to your G League roster. But as far as like, is this typical? Strangely, I'll say it's not typical for the Kings. Like, the Kings don't usually get up to 20. They usually come into camp with like 18 guys. Sometimes like it's usually 17, 18, 19. They don't usually take full advantage of all of the positions, at least not in past years. I think that would be the one shift that I've seen this year that, it's kind of surprising. It's kind of surprising that Chima Moneki got, 250,000 to show up at camp and another 250 if he makes the opening day roster. So you're committed $500,000 to Chima Moneki. And not to say that that's not a good thing. I mean, he could be, a perfectly good player. But that's a lot for like an unproven guy. And Dellavedova gets a nice chunk of change if he makes a roster. And I would assume Quinn Cook does as well. But to see so much guaranteed money, even I think Sam Merrill got I think it was $125,000 like signing bonus basically to come into camp. And he's not a true Exhibit 10 from what I know. But like that 125,000, like that's his. So it's a good way to keep a player in the States and in your program is to kick them a bigger chunk of change right in the beginning. And then when they do get waived and they go to the G League, basically they've already made their salary plus, sometimes twice their salary that they're going to make at the G League level. And it allows them to stay in the States longer.
What do you think Mike's looking for? Or Monty, what do you think the organization is looking for with all of these different guys they're bringing in?
I think the biggest thing they're looking for is cap flexibility. Even like if you look at Malik Monk's contract, they had an opportunity there. I mean, they could have offered a 4-year deal to Monk. They could have given him a 4-year, $45 million deal, but they kept it at 2. And a lot of these deals, they're, whether it's Moneki or Akpala or Dellavedova or Quinn Cook, again, Sam Merrill, all of them are like they might be multiple year deals, but they're really only training camp deals. So the Kings aren't committing anything to sort of the pieces that aren't your main pieces. So you've got Fox and Davion at the point that are under contract, and of course Monk and Herter that are under contract. You've got Holmes and Sabonis at the center. You got Keegan Murray. But outside of like that base, you really have a bunch of guys who aren't under long-term contracts. And so they're looking for max flexibility this coming offseason, the offseason after that. And, it's an interesting way to build it.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. One thing that I always kind of talk about, and this is a little different than the financial implications, is I think back to USC, Pete Carroll, when they were in their heyday, and he always talked about competition and how the practices were super competitive. And he would always talk about how, hey, if you're a junior or a senior, then this freshman comes in here and outplays you, guess who's playing on Saturday? Like that's what it is. And I'm bringing in 5-star recruits. I'm bringing in some of the best freshmen in the country. So he would talk about how, and the players would talk about how that level of competition, and not only for the returning players, but the new players, knowing that if I play well enough, this isn't some politics going on. Like if I play well enough in practice, I can play. They obviously had top end talent. That was maybe the most important thing. But I just always think about that level of competition that I felt breeded that type of success. And I don't know, James, I kind of feel like that's what's going on here in Sacramento. Yeah, you have this is the NBA, it's not college. So you got guys that are going to play no matter what, but they'll be pushed. They'll be pushed. And there's some people who, will be playing for playing time and playing for a roster spot. And I think that's only going to make everybody else around them better.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you walk into camp and every single person is playing for something, I think if we really look at this, the only people who aren't playing for something really are Sabonis and Fox. Everyone else is playing for something. Mm-hmm. And whether that's a roster spot, a rotation spot, extra minutes, a starting job, whatever it is, everyone is coming in with the same mindset that they've got a goal or they've got something that they're looking out for. And I think the big thing I'll circle is that I kind of want to see what happens with Keegan, because over the last few years, we've seen that the Kings just organizationally, even during the Monty McNair era, which is only 2 years, rookies have to earn it. And I'm not saying that Keegan hasn't earned it, but Halliburton didn't start. De'Aaron Fox didn't start as a rookie in the beginning of his rookie season. Marvin Bagley didn't start. I want to know what they're going to do there at the power forward spot, because they do have a couple of veterans they can put in there and be placekeepers while they bring him along.
Like Trey Lyles?
Yeah, like Trey Lyles. Or
I'm sorry, that came across terrible. I'm not trying to insult Trey Lyles. It's just really.
Well, it goes back to like we're going to watch the San Francisco 49ers open up this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any question that, like, in a normal situation, that Jimmy Garoppolo on week 1 would be a better option if you were just concerned with winning week 1. If you're just concerned about winning week 2, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be a better quarterback in those first 3-4 weeks as you're trying to get Trey Lance worked into a starting lineup and figuring things out and all that stuff. But I think when it comes, the way I'll equate it to the Kings is, I would like to see Keegan Murray start. I don't think that there's been reasons for the Kings not to do something like that, to put a guy out there and let them kind of, if you're going to succeed, you're going to succeed. If not, hopefully we got a quick hook and we can figure something out. I think the NBA is a little different because you do have players shifting in and out of the lineup. But the point being is that if you open week 1 of the NBA season and Trey Lyles is your starting power forward, you're probably going to be a little bit better off than if Keegan Murray is. Keegan Murray, he's got a lot to learn. And Trey Lyles has already gone through all that. And while I think long term, clearly putting Keegan Murray in the starting lineup is the smartest thing to do, because you're going to let him grow and do all that stuff and get acclimated to the league. But you could also do that in 20 minutes a game with him playing, 8 minutes in the first half. And, you could do it a lot of different ways. And so that would be my point, is that, is this only going to be about winning? And is it only going to be about winning from game 1 until game 82? Or is it going to be about integrating a player who's going to be a major focal point of your team for years to come right now, and letting him get his lumps and maybe cost you a couple of games early in the season?
It's James Dave Yeager Ham right there. James Dave Yeager Ham. We'll talk more Kings basketball. I don't want to talk more about that. We'll talk more Kings basketball. We'll talk 49ers football as well. Week 1 of the NFL season is here. Much more ahead on D-Lo and KC, brought to you by McQueen and the Violet Fog, the smoothest gin in the world, handcrafted in Brazil, here on Sacramento Sports Leader, ESPN 1320. I'm going to change all of these three screen nameplates. I don't like them. I'm gonna make them two. I'm gonna make them like this. I'm gonna make them two rows. It's too long. It doesn't. I don't like the way that it looks.
I got you.
I messed up.
No, I got you. I like the 2 rows.
And you've gone away from the 2 top and the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, we'll still utilize it at times. We can always switch the screen. This fills out the screen a little bit more. And I think we'll probably utilize this a lot more when we're in the studio as well. So I was kind of like, let's start getting used to it, and then getting this type of stuff, correct.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna fix this weekend. I don't like this. We could put people's Twitter handle on it. There's a lot of things I could do that I think that could make this look better.
The best slices of pizza just now. Man, oh man.
You guys have pizza every Friday, don't you? Isn't it in pizza from the Caraway House? No,
they cut that out a while ago.
Oh.
I would if I could. They're like, we're not doing this every Friday.
I'm making pizza on Beyonce this weekend. Yeah, buddy.
Oh, that anybody that don't know the story, that's it's a crazy line right there.
I'm making pizza on Beyonce. It's the name of my grill.
Oh, so you did get a grill?
I did, yeah. Oh, you weren't, yeah, because it was Tuesday. You weren't here. Yeah, I did.
All right.
I got a Traeger.
A Traeger.
The little pellets, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I had a solid debut on Sunday. I had a solid debut on Sunday.
A little tri-tip action.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Went well.
Any plans this weekend? Anybody? Besides watching football.
I'm getting my booster tomorrow. Yuck. I don't like shots.
Booster number 2.
Yeah, the new booster.
The new booster.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to eat. We're gonna have to have it for the season. So get out of the way now. Nice.
Fine.
God, I wish the wind would shift and clear this stuff out of here. That'd be nice. I'd be on the lake tomorrow. That's where I would be.
Rain, do something.
Rain will be great.
Yeah, rain would be amazing.
Okay, so Thomas G, you didn't feel great. I haven't felt great after all of my shots, and I don't do shots well.
I didn't have any issues.
I'm trying to remember. I think the third one was the only one where I was like, yo, this sucks.
Yeah.
And it was probably 6 hours. It wasn't a full day. Like it was about a span of like 6 hours where I felt like crap.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the evening, I started to kind of kick out of it a little bit.
Hey, Bryce, who's in the chatty house, the new booster is available to everybody. It's available, and it's first come, first serve. So you can, like, I think I'm going to Walgreens, but Rite Aid has them as well. Yeah.
I didn't eat I cooked. Yeah, I made that for other people. Oh, Shannon's rough. Yeah, my first one was nothing. Second one was nothing. That third one was like, F you, buddy.
Yeah. I just got tired and winded the first night. That's all.
Yeah, Jesse hasn't felt anything. You got, yeah, I know you got all 3.
Yeah, I've had 3 for a while.
I think the company. Oh, we're coming back. Appreciate you for being with us here on this Friday. If you missed any part of today's show, you of course can watch it on twitch.tv/ESPN1320 or youtube.com/ESPN1320. You can download the podcast wherever you get podcasts from, on the Odyssey app, on Apple, on Spotify. You can find the King's Beat there as well with James Ham, Brendan Nunez, and Sean Cunningham. You can also find Corners of the Culture available. New episode dropped late on Wednesday evening this week due to a publishing error on my part, but it is available for you now wherever you get podcasts from. The latest episode of Corners of the Culture. Week 1 of the NFL season is here. We'll talk 49ers and Bears here in just a heartbeat. I want to follow up on James. You were talking about Keegan Murray and how Mike Brown may kind of be evaluating his options here in terms of whether to start him or use someone like Trey Lyles instead in that position. And I wonder if in the Kings case, because I think your point is fine. You used the Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo comparison as an example, easing into this. But I think there's also like, hey, man, we've got plans this year. We want you cooking by, game 40. So let's get you out there and get you as comfortable as possible and get, you're not going against no shade intended, against summer league guys. Like, you got LeBron James coming to town. We got the best players on the planet coming to town now. And, no better way than to get you acclimated than to put you out right now, get you in there right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to play no matter what. It's how much is he going to play and what's his role going to be? Because, I mean, look, in all honesty, if he's in the starting five, he's what, the fourth option or fifth option?
Probably fifth.
Probably fifth. Probably fifth option. So, I mean, that's
before, but okay.
Yeah, that's a low stress situation, right? So, but if he's coming off the bench, maybe he moves up. Maybe he's a second option, and so he'd get more opportunities to get his shots up and feel more comfortable. He'd certainly get more post ups if he wasn't playing alongside Sabonis all the time, and he's really really good in the post. He's in the 95th percentile or 99th percentile of all college basketball players in efficiency around the basket. So, yeah, I think that there's just a possibility. Now, again, I would start him, and I think the Kings very well could just start him because this is a guy who's going to be in the running for Rookie of the Year. And, the Kings need all the good news they can possibly find. And he is a guy who could bring good news to them. And so I think there's a good chance that he does start. But, let's not forget about Trey Lyles. Let's not forget about Rashawn Holmes. Let's not forget about the fact that a lot of coaches like to force guys to earn their way. Let's not forget that they could start Harrison Barnes at the 4 and Kevin Huerter at the 3 and Malik Monk at the 2. Or Davion Mitchell at the 1 and Fox at the. There's still so many things that they could do. We assume that there's one starting lineup that most people would kind of set themselves up like this is the starting lineup, but that's not always the case. When a coach gets in there and all of a sudden he starts throwing Mo Harkless in and everyone's wondering why in the world, and then you get to the end of the season and your team is 500 when Mo Harkless starts and 15 games under or 20 games under 500 when Mo Harkless doesn't. There are reasons why coaches do certain things, and I would start Keegan Murray, but I can also understand that if it's just about wins and losses, that Trey Lyles or one of these other options might get you more wins in the first 20 games of the season than a rookie who's never played against this level of competition.
And look here, I mean, I'm seeing the Chad House and the Chatty House, and everybody is, and not everybody, a lot of people are, upset with the idea of Trey Lyles starting over Keegan Murray. Much like James just said, I would start Keegan Murray. I want Keegan Murray to start. But here's the bottom line. Win the damn games. And Trey Lyles starts and the Kings are able to start 13-7 as opposed to maybe they'd be 10-10 with Keegan Murray in there. Man, start Trey Lyles. I don't care who starts as long as it equates to winning basketball. And if Mike Brown or anybody thought that Trey Lyles gives them the best opportunity on opening night to win games, and that's what they decided to do, then it don't matter to me.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Even looking at the Chatty House, Keegan Murray is the most NBA ready rookie, but just because you're the most NBA ready rookie doesn't mean that you're the most NBA ready power forward on your team. That just, it doesn't matter. NBA ready, he's ready to contribute. I expect him to play by the end of the season. I think he'll be playing 28 to 30 minutes a night. I think at the beginning of the season, 24 to 28 minutes. He's going to play a ton. And he's going to play a ton. He's a very good player. He's a very versatile player. He's solid defensively. He can hit the 3 ball. He's shown the confidence during the summer league that he will take the 3. Which has been an issue that the Kings have had with some of their other players that just won't shoot enough. I don't think that's going to be a problem. So I think he's going to get an opportunity, but let's also give Mike Brown some, the key to being a good coach is to put your players in a position to succeed. Mm-hmm. And that's it. And so if succeeding means he's coming off the bench, that's one thing. If succeeding means that he's the 5th option and doesn't have to worry about being a scorer, and so you can put him in the starting lineup because he's more versatile defensively and stuff, then maybe that's what it is. I'm just saying, like, everyone should keep their options open here and realize that Mike Brown is a better coach than anyone else that's in the chatty house or on the radio right now.
Huh. I'm sure there are some people who disagree with that.
Yeah, of course there are.
They're a better coach than Mike Brown. It's just, we're just talking about ideas. Like the original question was, going back to how this is all gonna shape out. And I think that what we all do very much have a preconceived notion about, or we all have an idea of what we think the starting lineup will be. But that wrinkle of Harrison at the 4 is interesting. Because again, this isn't Luke or Alvin. Like this is a brand new coach. This is a brand new coaching staff. Mike Brown may see, hey, HB, I know, I got an idea. I have a way that I think will utilize you much better than you've been utilizing your time here in Sacramento. Like that's a new wrinkle to this whole thing that we don't have answers to that yet.
Yeah, we don't. And I mean, we don't even have the answer to whether Keegan Murray is 100% medically cleared for contact at this point. I asked a question today and haven't got a response, and that's okay. But we see him out there kind of battling with his teammates, but still shots. We're not seeing video of him battling right now, and so I'm intrigued. We have no idea what this thing is going to look like when you actually hit, October 19th, and the team is fully assembled at that point. Lots of things can happen between now and then, including there's still possibilities for trades. There's still possibilities for all kinds of things. So I would just keep an open mind and don't rush to this is what has to happen. And if this doesn't happen, then the Kings are crazy, or Mike Brown doesn't know what he's doing. Just keep in mind that Mike Brown has a win-loss record and no one else does. He wants to win games. He wants to get this team to the playoffs, and keep an open mind if you're a fan, because whatever that takes, it might not be the easiest thing for fans to sort of figure out. It won't be easy to get to the playoffs just because this is Sacramento and the Kings don't make the playoffs. And, this is a lot of pressure riding on these guys, and they're going to do what it takes to win, not what it takes to make people feel comfortable or happy on the outside.
You've got a win-loss record, buddy, and it stinks.
I do. Yeah, it's not good.
Win.
Yeah.
It's all that matters right now.
Speaking of winning, how much winning do you think the San Francisco 49ers are going to do? I mean, I don't think we've talked to someone yet who's not in on the 49ers going to the Super Bowl. And these aren't, I mean, Trista Crick's not a 49ers homer. Hell, I don't think Chris Biederman is or Kyle. I think they all objectively covered the job.
I'm not.
As he wears the San Francisco 49ers shirt.
I like the 49ers, but I'll say it how it is. Yeah.
Three years.
That's like me saying I don't like Dr. Pepper. Yeah. If I'm predicting win-loss record, I got 13-4. I think they're going to be elite, and that's because I think their defense is spectacular, and they got depth at the right positions, and I'm a little leery on their interior offensive line, like everyone should be.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there's still time to make changes, right? There's always time. The trade deadline isn't for a couple of months in the NFL, so if they start showing that they have a weakness there, they can try to go and attack that weakness. So yeah, I definitely like what I've seen from the way that they put their team together. Their defensive line depth is just crazy, and even their defensive backfield, which was a major question mark last year, I think it shored itself up, and I think they look good.
The only issue that I have with the 49ers, we talked about it for months now, is the offensive line. But here's the thing. This is why you pay Kyle Shanahan the big bucks, to make sure that offensive line, lack of depth or whatever, or lack of talent doesn't submarine a possible Super Bowl season. That's his job. His job is to make sure that weakness doesn't get exposed and end your season.
The quarterback position?
The offensive line.
Oh, the offensive line. Sorry. Yeah.
Well,
No.
offensive line and quarterback, and make sure your quarterback is good enough to get the job. Those are his two jobs. That offense, he's labeled the offensive genius and all this other stuff. I think it was Trista who said he was the best coach in the game earlier today too. If that's accurate, and I don't think that's far off. I don't think that's a hot take. It's his job to make sure the quarterback and the offensive line aren't anything that ruins your season.
No, I totally agree, but it's also, you got to have a really good line of communication with your front office. And if you do get to a point where you're like, look, this will hold us back. You've got to go get me a guard. Go. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what you got to give up. Go get us an elite guard. Go get us an elite center. Go fill the position. Then, John Lynch has to do the job. And, you don't blow a potential Super Bowl season because you're not willing to give up 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round picks to bolster your offensive line, in week 3 of the season. You got to be aggressive. And I just want to, I did just say that as of right now, we don't even know if Keegan Murray is 100% cleared for contact. I will break news right now. Keegan Murray has been cleared 100% for contact, and he is live and ready to go. So
wait a minute, James. All right, now say that again.
Keegan Murray is 100% cleared to return to the court for physical contact. He is game on, ready to go, and we're still 2 weeks, 3 weeks before training camp.
There we go. Come on now. Let's get it.
Somebody listening to the program and relaying information to you while we're live. I love this.
You never know. You never know.
We love that's our people over there.
Come on, man.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, like if I've got the information, I'm going to give it to you, and so.
Tell the world I'm coming home. Good stuff. Well, there you go. Yeah, ask and you shall receive. He's ready to. He's ready to go. There was never really a concern he wouldn't be, though, right? Like, I mean, that obviously that is, it's great news, but there was never genuine concern that he wasn't going to be ready for training camp, was there?
No, not from anyone I spoke to. Like everyone, but that doesn't mean that again, was it Lonzo Ball who had knee surgery and then they just keep saying oh, it doesn't look great, and then also they get him in there oh, he's not ready for camp. They know right now he's not ready for camp, and he had knee surgery and went January. Yeah. So that's not good. So you never know. Anytime you get cut, there's always a possibility that something could go wrong, or that something doesn't heal right, or that they have to go back in because they missed something. But no, this was just a routine little clean out to make sure he's ready to start his basketball career, and he's good to go, and he's healthy, and as of right now, so is everyone else.
Yeah. All right, man. I'm looking forward to Keegan, man. I really am. I'm just
beats Woj again.
There it is. Well, this is 2 times, man.
And beats Woj again.
The national reporter out here, Ham. Come on, man. That's 2 times. And then the other time, Damian beat Shams.
Oh.
We beat Shams collectively, all of us, by 45 seconds.
That's right.
Because it was 4th in his draft folder. So
it was in his cut and paste. It was down the line.
It wasn't a big of a priority for Shams as it was for the 3 of us.
And Shams might have been still counting characters, like 220, get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or cut into the tweet, pull it back out, put it back into your basket. Yeah. Anyway.
Hey, yeah. James, there was loosely some reporting by Shams on this playing tournament. Looks like it's going to happen, and they're figuring out how to make it happen, how to make it work. The details of it all have me confused, but I'm all for the in-season tournament. What do you think about that?
Yeah, initially I was like, what in the world are they going to do here? It doesn't make any sense, right? But then the more details you get, because my son played soccer forever, this is kind of how they do the cup play. So I guess it's a little bit different, but there will be specific games. It looks like the formatting looks like it's still an 82-game season. Every game will still count against your record, but specific games on your schedule will be designated as cup games. And so you'll go through the season, and a game will have dual meaning. And so if you win it, then you go up in the standings, and then you get to a round of 16. There'll be an elimination round before. So the top 16 teams, like the top 16 playoff teams, will move forward into what turns out to be the next round. And then it goes to single elimination from there. And then the only way you play an extra game is if you're in the finals. And then you play one finals game. So there's potential for an 83rd game. But again, that's kind of the way, like, is it the California Cup in soccer here that youth soccer goes through? Sometimes you'll play a game that's kind of like outside of your bracket and someone that you wouldn't normally play. That won't happen in the NBA, of course. You'll just play your teams. But yeah, I mean, I think the interesting thing about it is that the NBA is going to try to package this. They're going to try to sell it. We're already seeing that the salary cap is skyrocketing next season. Is going up, I think, $11 million next season. Yeah, and the luxury tax is going up like $162 million. So like an extra $12 million over where it is right now. I mean, that's crazy talk, and it's what makes Kevin Huerter's contract, trading for Kevin Huerter, like absolutely brilliant. Because when we, just look at year 4 of Kevin Huerter's contract, where he makes like $19.6 million in 4 seasons is going to be worth like $11 million right now. That's where the salary cap is going in the NBA. So it is really interesting. Like, just because the NBA is going to package this thing, they're going to try to go get a major sponsor, or they already have like 5 major sponsors lined up for this. And it's just going to be another way for players and for the league to make money.
Is there a TV deal coming up? Do either one of you guys know?
It's coming up, but I'm not sure when, which is why we might start hearing rumors about a potential expansion, because it's always going to be tied to the new television deal. No team wants to share what's happening right now. So like each team as of right now, I think they get like $90 million a team for the national television deal, something like that. It's ludicrous how much money they get. And they don't want to split that 32 ways, because then their chunk of change goes down by a whole bunch of money. So,
but you work that up with an expansion fee.
Yeah, well, an expansion fee is going to be $2 billion for each team. Like, there's no question. Like, an expansion team will cost somebody $2 billion, but it might even be like 2.5, whatever the going rate is right now. I mean, the Kings are like per Forbes are worth like 2.08 million billion. I mean, and when they were bought in 2013, this team was evaluated at 535 million. Yeah. Like Vivek has made 3 times his investment.
So that's just, expansion is just when, not if. There's too much money on the table for them not to expand.
Well, there wasn't before. That's the key. If it was 500 million and you got 30 teams splitting 500 million, that's not that much money. When we start talking about 2 billion, and if you have to have 2 teams, now we're talking about 4 billion. So that 4 billion will be split up into the 30 teams that are already pre-existing, and they'll get that money. And so that's like a massive cash infusion for a lot of these teams. I don't even have the math in front of me, but that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money per team.
24-25 is when the current TV deal ends. The Athletic says the NBA is the last of the 5 major U.S. men's leagues in line for a new TV deal. It currently enjoys 2 primary TV contracts with ESPN and Turner Sports that will have paid it a combined $24 billion by the time the contract ends after the 24-25 season. So will likely get an opt-out of the collective bargaining agreement this December, a new collective bargaining agreement next summer, leading into the new television deal next year would be a couple of years later.
That's going to be massive. It's going to be massive. That's going to be crazy. Hey, real quick, I just want to get this because I want to get your reaction real quick. Football season is here. All right, football season is here. That means First Take is right there. Did you see today that Stephen A. Smith proclaimed that the Chargers were going to score the most points of any team in the AFC West this week 1, and that they were going to lose to the Raiders?
That sounds like science. Look, wait, what? God bless Stephen A. Smith.
Wow, Sway.
Okay, and just so you know, I did the math. If the two expansion teams were $2 billion each, and you divide that by 30, we're looking at $130 million per team. $333,333.
I can't lie. When you said I did the math, I thought you figured out a way for the Chargers to score the most points in the AFC West and to lose to the Raiders.
Maybe if their offense scores the most, but they lose to the Raiders because the Raiders somehow score more defensively.
Shout out Stephen A, man. Welcome back. Welcome back to football season.
Man, my goodness.
Making stuff up.
That is amazing. We appreciate you so much for being with us. If